welcome back to another video, and today I'll be discussing my favorite drugstore makeup products. Welcome back, and today we are going to be discussing some of my sort of favorite drugstore products or product recommendation from drugstore. I think this is a good video to make, especially in the beginning of the year, because a lot of us are probably on the budget after Christmas. I also do know that the economy is not going so hot in a lot of places currently, so I can get it that we all want to save some money, and a good way to save money is to, for example, makeup is one place you can save money. Obviously, don't need to buy any makeup, like please don't like go in debt or don't overspend because of you makeup. They were like first like spend your money on utilities and necessaries, and then if you have an extra, then get yourself something nice. But you don't have to splurge on makeup, and it shows just based on like how much stuff I'm having on my desk, and I also am having some things that I don't have like the physical products from, but you're gonna see some images on this side of the screen. So there is a lot of recommendations, at least for me, from drugstore, and it shows, I think, especially within Europe, the drugstore makeup has gotten better. I do remember, especially it was during the time before COVID, when I started getting into makeup YouTube, I was very envious for all the like US beauty sort of like content creators and US consumers, because it seemed that in the US you had a very good wide selection of drugstore makeup that was actually pretty decent quality and the prices weren't that bad. And here in Europe, our drugstore makeup, yeah, you had some inexpensive options, but the quality, it was very hit and miss. You really had to like know which products to get and which not. And then also there was the issue that especially drugstore eyeshadow in the European market, there wasn't that many good options. But these days the situation is much better. So I think when you go into watching this, you should also know that this is based on a European makeup user perspective. So if there are like some brands like Colourpop or Juvia's Place that I do know that are big more drugstore brands in the States, those are not included in this one because those are brands that are very difficult to get because purely of the shipping times and the shipping cost related to getting products in here. But we are going to do this in categories, so we're going to first go to the base products, I think then we're going to go to cheek products, and lastly eye products. And as I said, especially with the sort of mascara recommendations and base product recommendations, you are going to see a lot of images in this side of the screen purely because those are products that I don't collect. I actually use those up, so that is the reason why I don't have the products physically in hand, but you are going to see an image. But then with the cheeks and sort of lip and other eye products, I will actually like show some pics from my own collection. Okay, and let's start with the foundations. And as I said with this one, I'm sorry, you're gonna just see some images because once I use my foundation bubbles up, I'm obviously throw those away. So from foundations, there were like a few ones, but I do have to say with foundations, I think my biggest issue with foundation is that it doesn't matter, is it a high-end foundation, drugstore foundation, there just doesn't seem to be. Well, now recently I have been trying the Michelle BB cream, and that seems to be now something that I do think that is going to be a more long-term favorite. But with foundation, it seems that I just try a lot of foundations, and the same is going to go maybe a bit to the concealers when we get to them, that I try a lot of them, but not a lot of those stick. But there are a few ones that I would say that are like products that I go back to when I just don't want to get anything too new to try, but I just want something that I know I can trust. So first one is a very inexpensive one. So this is W7 Skin Fresh Foundation, and this is foundation that I have genuinely rebought 3 or 4 times. I have used this one quite a lot. And this is, first of all, the pricing of this one, you can't like beat it. I think in our retailers you can get it like somewhere around €5 or even maybe under €5. So that's already like in terms of price very great. And this is one of those very nice medium coverage foundations that it's not, while it gives you coverage, it doesn't look too cakey, and because it's like, it's a bit of a more of a hydrated, like the formula is a bit more on the hydrating side, especially someone who, like me, who is in their like plus 30s and who has these days now more combo dry skin. This is a very good like good foundation, the fact that it gives coverage but it's not too cakey and heavy, and it doesn't feel like emphasize texture on your skin. So this is something that if you're balling on a budget and W7 is available to you and you don't want like anything like super heavy matte, I think this is a perfect in-between foundation. Then the second foundation is L'Oreal True, what is it, True Match? Yeah, L'Oreal True Match foundation. This is an OG foundation. They have reformulated this a few times, but I do think that, again, if you are someone like me who isn't like anymore the maybe the fresh-faced 20-year-old and you're especially looking something a bit more thinner in terms of foundation consistency, this is a good foundation. I do actually think you get a decent amount of coverage, not full coverage, but you can build this to be a good medium coverage. And additionally, I do think what L'Oreal has going for it, unlike for example W7, that unfortunately with W7 I do have to say their shade ranges are not that good, but with L'Oreal's True Match, aside from having a very good gradient from very light to very deep like foundation shades, this particular foundation line also has pretty good variation in terms of having different kind of undertones, which is also something that we lack in a lot of foundation lines, that you can have a good foundation gradient from light to deep shades, but then we are missing quite a lot of undertones. And for example, I didn't feel this is the only L'Oreal foundation that I, for example, could actually recommend in this video, because unfortunately L'Oreal is one of those drugstore brands that their other foundation lines, they usually have the light shades can pull very yellow, and this is something that I do come across with some other brands too. But within the True Match line, there is actually a genuine like cool rosy toned like shade that is like, I think it's one of the like perfect. I think it's the 1.5C, I think is the shade name, that is probably the one of the best shade matches that I have found in my foundations, like period, from all the foundations that I've ever tried. Then next one, concealer. So from Catrice there are like 3 concealers altogether that I would say. So I would say with Catrice we could maybe like generally say generally Catrice's concealers pretty good in terms of like for example my preferences. So I have tried the Catrice True Skin High Coverage Concealer, then the Instant Bright Serum Concealer, and then there is actually another one. I'm gonna put in the image of it, but with this one I'm a bit unsure that is this something, they are advertising this as one of the like heavier coverage concealers, but I don't think this was actually that heavy coverage concealer. But with Catrice generally I would say that these concealers are very good. Even though some of these are advertised as very high coverage concealers, I don't feel that these were like heavy. I do feel that with all the Catrice concealers, they were all still pretty hydrating. They didn't make my under eyes look cakey, and they just, I think, melted in with the rest of the makeup very well. The serum concealer that I think it was in their fall or spring update from last year, I think that is the only concealer that I would say in this one that it's more of a lighter coverage concealer product. But I think that too, if you're looking for something more hydrating, and if you are someone who maybe wants something more light coverage, then you can go with the serum concealer. But generally, Catrice's concealers have been pretty good hits for me, and are a concealer product that I would recommend from the drugstore. Then something that it's not straight out concealer, but in terms of like correctors, because I am someone who has darker under eyes, I do need my correctors. This Essence corrector, I believe the name of this one is Essence Correct and Conceal, and this is the best peachy fair corrector that I have tried. This is like a miracle product in terms of the fact that it melts into your skin perfectly. It brightens up my under eyes, but you can layer foundation, and then if you need a concealer additionally to this one, I can actually even use this as a light coverage concealer on days that I don't want anything too heavy. But this is like in terms of formula one of the best like concealer or corrector type of formulas that I have tried from drugstore in a really long time, and this is like under €4 I think in our drugstores. I think from some websites you can get this even somewhere around €3, but I don't know how Essence was able to formulate this at the price point they are on their product at, because this was true like something when I tried, I was like thinking that wow, like how is this possible, because it melts in so well and it does the job of like correcting so well, and it doesn't like mess with the rest of your makeup. So I can't stop raving particularly about this concealer like enough, and that's saying something because well, I've tried my fair share of correctors. Not a lot of them are that memorable, if I can say, because a lot of them I would say that are okay, but they necessarily aren't any like miracle workers. But with this one I would say that we are getting like close to perfection in terms of like corrector shades. And let's start going with the first category that you are actually I'm able to like show the products. So cheek products, we do have quite a lot. I'm kind of thinking, what are we gonna do first? I think let's maybe start with the individual ones, and let's maybe continue with Essence. So Essence has bought their dupe of Charlotte's Tilbury's Flawless Filter. This is the Magic Filter liquid highlighter, or you can use this also as a glowy primer if you have a very, very like dry skin. For me, why I haven't been liking the Flawless Filter dupes, I have tried my fair share of them, especially from the drugstore, is that a lot of them have been too liquidy. And if you're using it as an underpainting thing or in like a sort of like under foundation, like glowy primer, then I can understand that it can be better. But the original Flawless Filter, what I liked it for was that it made the most beautiful subtle liquid highlighter, because it had enough sort of a metallic base to it, and it was bit on a there was like bit more consistency to the formula compared to some of the drugstore dupes that have been made for it. This one has the very similar consistency that the original Flawless Filter has, so this actually does what the original Flawless Filter did for me, which is that I can use this as a very nice subtle highlighter, and it still melts in with the rest of your makeup. It doesn't lift the foundation underneath, and for me this has been just something that, considering again how inexpensive Essence is, I think this is truly what I would say a very, very beautiful highlighting product if you want to use this for your, if you truly want to use this for like more like cheekbone highlighting. Maybe if you're using this under foundation, I'm a bit unsure, because then this could be a bit too metallic, but as I said, for my sort of preferences that I like to use this kind of product from, you can't really beat this, especially considering Essence price points. Then from W7, I have tried my fair share of W7 cheek products and I have had pretty good luck with them, but I think what I would say, that if I would say what is an absolute favorite from them, is this one. So this is their sort of liquid contour, and this has actually been, I think, featured in sort of my like ultimate favorite like contouring like liquid cheek product. So this is one of those like kind of, first of all, it's a cool tone shade, so that's the first important thing, because as someone particular with my skin undertone, I rather need something very neutral, or then if it's a like full-on a contouring shade. So first of all, in terms of undertones, so this is the shade Shadow. This pretty much is a perfect fit for me, and this is one of those like contouring products where it is that this is on the buildable side. So with this one, if you want to just a very light sort of shadow effect on your cheeks, you can do that with this one. But with this one, you can also build this. So if you want to do this like full-on like very visible contouring or shaping of your face, you can do that. And the formula of this one, very nice. It is very easy to work into your skin. It doesn't appear muddy or streaky or do anything like else funny. So from W7, I would say from cheek products, this is something that I would recommend if you're into your more gray, sort of gray cool tone leaning contouring bronzing products. Then I think from L'Oreal, so this is the Lumila Glass stick highlighter. So this is the, I think mine is in the shade Ballerina, so it is a sort of like glowy pink tone, sort of like cream highlighter. This is beautiful. So this is more, again, goes to the more of the Essence category, though this is much more, I would say the Essence is a bit more subtle. This is pretty like much more impactful as a highlighting product. And this is one of those that truly gives a very like gloss-like glow onto your cheek. And and even though I was initially kind of afraid that is it going to be something that's going to be sticky, so that you have the issue that your hair kind of stick to this one, but actually this does settle down, and at least I didn't have the issue of the fact that this would remain sticky through the whole day. So I think that if you are looking for a good cream lighter that gives the kind of gloss effect on your cheeks, I do think this is actually a pretty nice one. And even though L'Oreal is a bit more on the expensive side of drugstore products, I would say this is actually something that is worth its money. Then let's go to maybe to Kiko. So Kiko Milano's, I would say that generally Kiko's cheek products have been a pretty good hit. So this is just, I'd say these are just like placeholders. I don't think I have yet had a Kiko like powder cheek product, especially with some of their cream products, maybe not so good luck, but with especially like what Kiko does well are powder products. So I have, this is the blush from their summer collection a couple of years ago, and this is actually a highlighter from their holiday collection. Both of these were limited edition, but as I said, these are like placeholders. And Kiko is notorious for recycling shades. So for example, I'm gonna show the blush shade. So this is the marbled blush. They came out 2 summers ago, but actually last year they bought these back basically in their previous summer collection with just some new packaging and shades. I would not be amazed considering that how popular these seem to be with the Kiko consumer. We probably will see something similar with this summer's collection again, because as I said, Kiko's pretty notorious for recycling shades. And then we have the highlighter. I did say that this was probably from the highlighter formulas that I tried doing last year, this was my top one. This was a very interesting, I do think this powder, particularly this powder highlighter formula, it was a bit more newer, because the powder highlighter formulas that I have tried from their previous products have been very good, but they have been very traditional powder highlighters. But this one feels like almost creamy when you touch it, but then when you like actually work it into your skin, it is definitely a high powder highlighter. Beautiful formulations. Generally, as I said with Kiko, I would say that their powder cheek products, with these ones you can't really go wrong, and I would say that no matter which one you pick, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. Then let's maybe go back to talking about Catrice. So with Catrice, we are a few cheek product recommendations. So this one goes to one of the best cheek powder products that I tried from Catrice last year. So this was their butter-like bronze and contour palette. I do think these were meant to do the NYX's butter bronzers, but actually I think Catrice did this even better. The packaging maybe on Catrice's side was a bit on the cheaper side, so this one is definitely more like lighter plastic compared to NYX one. But first of all, what I liked about this one is that with Catrice you got a more neutral leaning powder bronzing shade, and then there was the like more orangey leaning bronzing shade. I can't wear the orangey leaning bronzing shade, it's too orangey for me, but for me the more neutral one, it's a perfect bronzer shade for someone with my undertone. And I actually think the Catrice's formula, like this was even like smoother and I think easier to work with than the NYX formula. And I do actually think the NYX formula is pretty good, but this one I think it was even like better in terms of the fact that how easy this was to work with. And I do think that with the NYX one, a lot of people have said, and I do agree, using the NYX bronzers is that it's a pretty pigmented formula. With this one, you actually did have a bit more control over how much you could layer the product. So this is actually maybe a bit more better also for those of you who are beginners into makeup. Then another sort of liquid bronzing contour product. So this is the Melted Sun, and this is technically a liquid bronzer, but I do have to say the shade, so mine is in the shade 005 Tan Lines. This is actually a more cool tone leaning shade so for me this actually works, and I think for a lot of, if you buy this particular shade, I do think this is more of a contour shade, but I think the other shades in the line were more warm leaning. So with this one you kind of have to maybe choose the shade according to, are you looking for more of a bronzing or contour effect. Again, this is one of the more buildable formulas, so if you want just maybe something of a very light and sort of like easy going, you can do that, but then you can build this up. So if you want something more visible, that is also possible. And again, a very beautiful formula to work with, and again, considering Catrice's price is very affordable also. And then a product that I'm a bit unsure. So with Catrice, I was a bit unsure which products to include, because they have been, when Catrice does their seasonal updates 2 times a year, they also have the habit that they tend to discontinue a lot of products when they bring out new ones. So with these ones, I'm a bit unsure that can you still get this. So this is the Blush Affair liquid blushes, and this is the, which shade I had? This was the 040 Velvet Rose. This is a very beautiful, what I would say more of a glowy satiny liquid blush formula, but this is something that will settle down, so you don't have to worry about again sticky cheeks or anything. And this is just very again beautiful and effortless drugstore liquid blush formula to work with. I would recommend this one, that if you're looking for something a bit more on the buildable side, this goes to the category of liquid blushes that I would recommend. You can definitely, if you want to build this up, it's possible, but for a more buildable blush movements, this is a very nice formulation. Then let's go to MUA Makeup. So this is a UK based makeup brand, and from them there are 2 kind of cheap products that I would recommend. So first of all, these are actually quite new, so these are their sort of stick. They brought highlighters, blushes, and then they brought some contouring and bronzing products. So for me, what especially, I think I'm gonna show which one was the absolute favorite. So it was the Beauty Balm, and this was the sort of one of the blush shades they had, and this was one of those blushes that truly had the kind of blurring effect, at least on my particular cheek area. So this, I was very surprised that a drugstore formula could do what this did. So this had the very sort of nice blurred effect. This was more of a, what I would say, a glowier blush, so you could definitely see it from how that formula looks, and this kind of has the bit of a golden pigment to it. So if you don't like a super what I would say this sort of more glowier glowier blush, then this formula might not be for you, but I do think that this is a very beautiful formula for the drugstore. Similarly, the contour shade in the shade Sculpt, so Again, if you are someone who has a more cooler skin undertone, I would say this is a very nice shade. This maybe wasn't as good as the blush was, but this is still very easy and very easy to work with. This is a more, what I'd say, a pigment forward contour formula. So if you don't want something as pigmented as this one, then maybe go like buy something else. But I do think that if you are more someone who wants a bit more pigment to their cream contours, this could be a good option. And then let's go to no, we still had a couple of, then from MUA, these are more like classic ones. So these liquid blushes, I have 2 of these in my collection still. I used to have 3, but I did actually get rid of 1 shade when I was going through my sort of blush drawer during the holidays. This goes to the category of being more of these, like, again, satin glowy blushes. So I think from these are quite close to what I would say with the Catrice's formula. I do think these are a bit more glowier. This is especially a formula that I like to use during the summertime. But this again is not glowy or dewy to the point that you are gonna have like hair sticking to your cheeks. So again, I think this is for like drugstore blushes, this is a very good like a formula to go to if you like your more glowier blushes. Then I think for some matte blushes, so mousse blushes have been having a comeback, and I think Makeup Revolution had a bit of bad luck. I think they launched these like a couple of years too early, because I do remember when these launched, these didn't get a lot of hype, but now it seems like every single drugstore brand is coming out with their variation of mousse blushes. So these are for those of you who are looking a very pigment forward mousse blushes. These Revolution ones are very good. I think they have altogether 5 shades. A bit unsure, can you still get this? I would hope so, because now these are coming back to trend, so I think it would, since they already have this product, I hope they might re-promote this particular formulation. This is very, you have to like your pigmented blushes to want to work with these, but even though these are very pigmented, these are very easy to work with, and these do give the kind of blurred effect on your cheek. You just have to kind of like your matte blushes, because if you don't like matte blushes, you're not gonna enjoy these, but I do enjoy these, and I do have to say that as a formulations, these are very nice. And I think we are done with the cheek products, and now let's next move to the lip ones. And then some lippies. First of all, let's go through some lip liners. I am a sucker for drugstore lip liners. I don't want to spend high-end lip liners are their least used products in my collection. I use them when I get them, usually in some kind of sets, but I just don't want to spend too much money on my lip liners, which is good that we have drugstore options for those. So first one is that if you are looking for super creamy lip liners, because I do know there are differences in preferences, so the W7 sharpenable lip liners, I think these are just called the all-rounder color pencil lip liners. The shade range of these ones isn't too expensive. I think you only have maybe, I think they might only have 5 or 4 shades apart, but they are pretty neutral leaning shades. I have literally rebought this, so even though these do come out with a lot of products, so for example you can see with this one it's quite a lot of lip liner, I still managed to use this up, so it shows how much I actually do use these ones. And these are the ones that if you are looking for the more creamy lip liners, then I would go for these ones. Then I think in between formula is actually from MUA, so they have these I think these are called the Intense Color Lip Liners. This was a limited edition shade, but I have actually used up another shade from their staple line of lip liners. And these are, I think, a good in between, that if you're looking something between of a more of a drier lip liner formula and a creamy lip liner formula, I think these go into the middle. So these are, you kind of get both with these ones. And again, I think considering the price point, you do actually get a lot of product. I just have used this particular one quite a lot, so that's why it's a bit on the shorter side. Then for those of you that if you are looking for more of a dry lip liner, and I can understand that for a lot of people, and I'm actually one of those people that I do like my creamy lip liner, but if it's too creamy that it's gonna cause the lip products to mess up, then it's something that I know that I'm not gonna like. But if you're looking for more of a drier formula, I actually think the original NYX lip liners, these are still pretty good. You don't get that much of a product, so even though this is relatively new, I actually kind of did a sort of I went through my lip liners during the end of last year. I did that separate from my declutters, and in that point I sort of threw away a lot of old lip liners, and then I sort of made a list of lip liner shades that I wanted to get into my inventory, and when I did that, I saw that NYX had a couple of good shades that I thought would fit. But with NYX ones, you don't get that much of products, and these are a bit on the expensive side for being a drugstore, at least here in the European drugstores. But I do think that if you are looking something a bit more that's gonna maybe last a bit longer during the daytime, I do think the NYX ones are good. And again, these are the more like sharpenable ones, which I like. So for me, even though these are a bit pricey and you don't get that much of a product, but I do think there's a formula for those days that I need something long lasting, the NYX ones are pretty good. Then some like lip formulas. So e.l.f. came to our stores, I think it's already like been over a year. And even though I did sort of a full-on like try on of like I did a full-on like I think a separate basic review that I reviewed the e.l.f. products that I got when they launched, and not a lot of them did stick in my collection. So with a lot of the e.l.f. products, it was that I thought that they were okay, but they weren't like anything that special. But something that I thought that was very like something worth keeping in my collection was this one. So these are their satin lipstick. I have mine in the shade. What was this one? This is the Pleased, so it is a more what I would say like a pinky rosy shade. This is a formula that I said that was very close to a lot of the like high-end like matte leaning lipstick that I have tried. This is a bit more like, it has bit more it's a bit more like matte satin formula rather than being a full-on matte, but that's actually a pretty good one. But these actually have a pretty good longevity for being bullet lipsticks. And just the formulations, that this doesn't like feel like a drugstore formula, because a lot of with drugstore lipsticks is that you can say that these are nice for being drugstore lipsticks, but this actually formula is something that doesn't feel like it's a drugstore product, but rather something that's very elevated. e.l.f. has been also doing quite a lot of like changing up with their lip like line of products, so I'm a bit unsure are these lipsticks available, because they've been now redoing some of their lip products, so maybe check on your stores that if you can still get this. But for me, this is still a like lipstick formula that I would say that if you're looking for a traditional good lipstick at a drugstore, these e.l.f. ones are pretty awesome. Then from Kiko we are having a couple of formulas. So first one, I think this is not gonna be a surprise. So 3D Hydro Glosses. Aside from Fenty Gloss Bomb, this is my most used and most collected gloss formula, which is questionable at best, since considering that you really don't need to collect lip glosses. Like even though, yeah, you can argue that using a lip gloss it takes much shorter of time compared to some other makeup products. But if you have a lot of lip glosses, honestly, you just don't have, like, you have only one set of lips. So. But this is like, Kiko has a very wide range of these. Kiko they include this in their limited edition collection. So for example, the lilac one, this was from their summer collection from last year, but then they have these ones in their staple line, and then they have had like separate limited edition launches also, these lip glosses like separately. There is something for everyone. They have this in just glosses that don't have the sparkle, then they have the super sparkling ones that I'm a very big fan of. Obviously, like both of these are very sparkly shades, and it's just a beautiful formula. It's not sticky. Even the ones that have the sparkle, there isn't grit to it. It's a very smooth, and they have like more pigmented ones, and then the more like sheer ones, and there's like something for everyone. And I do think that the price point of this one, yeah, these aren't the most inexpensive for drugstore glosses, but I do still think these are pretty decently priced, and as I said, they have a lot of like shades in this one. Then something that Kiko I think does particularly well. I do have generally like Kiko's bullet lipstick formulas, but what I'm especially sucker for are the sort of like metallic lipsticks that they bring in their holiday lines. So I can just show this one. So this is a more of a pinky or sparkly shade that they brought in one of their holiday collections a couple of years ago. And then this one, which was actually from their holiday collection from 2025, and I'm a sucker for these ones. This is a very, what I would say, nice of a lipstick formula. Like, even though these lipstick bullets are a bit misleading in the fact that when you see them in the store, you're thinking that, oh, it's gonna be super sparkly. How this is gonna go onto your lips, it's that it's gonna be more of a, what I would say, metallic finish. But it's not a metallic finish in a kind of, what I would say, not in a way that's gonna look funny, because I'm definitely, like, I think I tried one of, like, I think it was a NYX metallic liquid lipstick when those were trendy in, like, that was in 2016 or 17. Hopefully that is not a trend that is not coming back, because I don't think those look nice, but these are gonna be like metallic, but not in a strange way, but rather in a way that's still gonna look flattering on your lips. And I think this is a big good in-between formula, where it's the formula that it's not gonna, with this one you don't have to be afraid that it's gonna go all over your lips, so it's not too emollient. It does have some grip to it, but it's in the same time, it's definitely like more hydrating than a bullet matte, full-on like bullet matte formula. And it kind of gives a very nice festive effect. So I do think for these, for a lot, these lipsticks are going to be a special occasion lipstick, but I do think that Kiko does this particular formula really well. And you don't have to worry if you miss these out in one Christmas. They are going to bring these back. Basically, they have brought these back like every Christmas, just in a different packaging. I've also seen these being brought back in some other like limited edition collections, so you probably don't even have to wait till Christmas if you're into this kind of formulation. Then what are we? We're still gonna be having, yeah, from Catrice there's actually gone two formulas that I don't think we have actually featured these in the other brands. So yeah, first of all, this one, so this is the Endless Matte. So if you're looking for a traditional liquid matte lipsticks, these are something that have not been that trendy, I think, in the makeup market during the last few years. Let's see, because 2016 makeup trends are back, so let's see, are we gonna see the comeback of liquid lipsticks? This is a pretty good formula, and again, pretty inexpensive option if you're looking for a good traditional liquid lipstick that's just gonna stay in put through the whole day. Yeah, but also this is easy to reapply. It doesn't do funny things, because some of these traditional liquid lipsticks, these did not look nice when you tried to reapply them, because they started like causing like you sort of like started having cracks on your lips, or they were like the sort of product to pile up, and then it seemed like you had some pieces of product on your lips. It doesn't do that. This actually looks smooth even if you reapply this over a old layer, and I was a big fan of this one. And then a bit something that I have not been a fan of like generally, but this is one of the few like liquid, like these lip lacquer kind of products that have been kind of popular during, I think, especially like a year ago, but I like generally I think this is the only one that I've liked. So these are the Catrice Shine Bomb like lip lacquers, and this is a very good formula if you're looking for something that is kind of has the longevity of a liquid lipstick in terms of the pigment remaining, but you don't want something as drying. So this one is pretty nice formula in the fact that first of all, this doesn't wear patchy. Some of the like sort of lip lacquer kind of products that I have tried, or the lip tint kind of products that I've been trying on my channel, have had the issue that they have worn off patchy. This doesn't do that, even though this is a very, the tube is pretty accurate in terms of the fact that what kind of shade you're getting. So you kind of get a punchy color on your lip, but you don't have to worry about it going all over your lips. It doesn't wear off patchy. You can reapply this during the daytime if you want. And even if you wouldn't reapply this, it doesn't start feeling, because especially like I just showed the liquid lipstick, and with that one obviously the downside of it is that by the end of the day your lips are gonna feel pretty dry. But with this one, because the formula kind of has some hydration to it, it doesn't feel that dry when you get this after the end of the day. So I think for like if you're looking for a lip lacquer and you might not have been liking some other lip lacquer products, maybe try this Catrice one, because I do actually think that if you're looking for something, you want something very like punchy on your lip, you want a true like statement lip color, but maybe a liquid lipstick have been like too drying to you. You don't want to wear a like very opaque gloss because you're afraid it's gonna get all over your face. This could be a good in-between product for you. And let's lastly start talking about the eye products. And before eyeshadow palettes, I am gonna go through a couple of mascara recommendations. Again, sorry, you're just gonna see pictures over there, because I don't have any of these mascaras in my collection. So first one, which was it? Essential mascaras are gonna be just a general recommendation. I'm just gonna put some photo. Like for me, the Lash Princess, the one in the green tube, that is a classic for me. It's one of my OG favorite mascaras. But generally, like Essence they have such a big selection. You have like different kind of colors. You have like different kind of wand shapes. You have a waterproof variations, you also have tubing mascaras, and you have also ones with traditional formulas, you have ones with plastic bristles, traditional bristles. So I think generally if you just need to find a good mascara, like buy a few Essence mascaras and see which one sticks, because I bet that you are able to find some kind of favorite from the online. Then for Maybelline has been a bit hit and miss. I know for some people Maybelline mascaras have been a very like good way of like picking a mascara. I haven't liked all the ones, but I do think that the Maybelline Colossal Bubble Mascara and then the New York Lash Sensational Firework Mascara, those are actually Maybelline mascaras that I would recommend. For me, both of those were the kind of mascaras that I was able to get volume to my lashes. They gave me curl, they gave me separation. I do think with both of these it was a bit of the issue that once these started drying out, they started getting a bit on the clumpier side, so that is the maybe only downside with the Maybelline mascaras. But I do know Maybelline is a very accessible brand to a lot of people, so that is why I did want to like give a couple of recommendations from them. And then the last one, which was the most like positive surprise from makeup products from last year. So Makeup Revolution finally came out with a decent mascara. So I tried the Revolution Wrap Lash Tubing Mascara. This is probably the only tubing mascara that I'm gonna recommend because tubing mascaras generally I don't like the process of taking them off, but with this one I actually did like the effect. It gave pretty good volume, pretty good length, pretty good separation. It had a plastic bristle, which isn't my favorite, but I could live with that because I do think the end result was very impactful. As I said, the process of taking this mascara off not my favorite, but I do think that if you are like, again, because Makeup Revolution is very accessible to a lot of people, I do think this is a mascara that I think a lot of people would enjoy. And then we will get to the fun part, which is the sort of eyeshadow palettes. So first one is from MUA. So I think considering again the price point of these one, MUA's eyeshadow palettes are generally something that I would recommend. So in here I have the Desert Bloom and then the Blush Nudes. Only downside of both of these one is that the packaging is cheap AF, so the packaging is necessarily not the long lasting. Also, not all of these palettes are equal, so these two are specifically like the Blush Nudes and the Desert Bloom are palettes that I would say that these specific palettes are very beautiful in terms of formulations, and again considering the price point of these ones, but not all of these have been a hit. So I would maybe like when you are picking these palettes, maybe watch some reviews of a specific palette you're eyeing and then buy the ones that you think based on the reviews are good, because some of these, especially now with these big palettes, I don't think the formulas in the recent big palettes have been that good. With these smaller ones it's been like a bit better, but with these big ones there's definitely variation. But at least these specific two palettes from MUA, considering the price point, very good. The packaging might not be the most long lasting one, but still. Then surprisingly, Makeup Revolution. There was a day when I would say that Makeup Revolution is the last brand that you should buy eyeshadow palettes from, but they have redeemed themselves. So when I'm talking about Makeup Revolution palettes, I'm talking specifically about these Icon palettes. Again, not all of these are equal. This, which one I have? So the Celestial Icon and then the True Icon is the more reddish one. So these two are the best ones that I have tried, but I do have to say that even the ones that didn't stick into my collection, I wouldn't say that the quality of them was bad. Definitely the quality improvement is huge compared to the previous Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palettes that I've tried. I can't say about the other eyeshadow palettes that they are still doing that are those good or bad. I have just stayed away from those because with my experience is that it was too hit and miss previously when I tried Revolution palettes. So these are the palettes that I would say that are consistently, no matter which kind of color story you choose, these are consistently good, and some of these are excellent. I would especially say that the True Icon one, so the reddish one over here, this is one of the like best eyeshadow palette formulas that Revolution has generally produced in their line. So from Makeup Revolution and from Drugstore, this palette line is something that I would look into if it is a brand that's easy for you to get. Then something that is a bit more on the pricier side, so Moira's eyeshadow palette, these go around 25 euros, so they are a bit heading to the mid-range price point, but like just considering like, I just don't know how Moira does it still, because even for 25 euros, like I have tried much more expensive eyeshadow that is worse quality than this one. So I do think Moira, first of all, maybe what you are not getting with the Moira palette is that you're not getting any special shades, obviously, with this kind of price point. And the shimmers are more maybe like traditional, even metallic linear shimmers, but it's just like the matte formula and the shimmer formula is just how effortless and smooth they are, how easy it is to get looks with these ones, and just the fact that the formulation doesn't feel like a drugstore formulation, even though they are a bit on the pricier side of drugstore. Like if you would have to buy one drugstore palette, I would just like save up the money and buy one of these 25 euro ones, and I think you're gonna be just very happy. because I don't think that this kind of quality, like, it's pretty hard to match even with some of the like more expensive brands that I've tried eyeshadow from. So Moira, a strong recommendation generally, and I also have to say their packaging is pretty sturdy, even to the point where I would say that they could maybe like thin these out a little bit, but you are also like, aside from the getting good eyeshadow, you are getting pretty like nice looking makeup packaging and everything. So with the price point they're doing, don't know how they're doing it, but this is good. And then something that if you're okay ordering your stuff online, so I think the more products, the MUA products and the Revolution products are products that you can get at least in some European makeup retailers. But if you are okay buying online, Beauty Bay is a palette recommendation. And I own altogether 3 Beauty Bay palettes. So I have the berry one, I have the earth one, and then this is the Desert Haze was a limited edition palette from their summer collection last year. And Beauty Bay has these limited edition palettes, and then they have the staple line palettes, but altogether I would say that if you need variety, so I think, for example, what Beauty Bay palettes are good for is that if you want to try a color story and see that do you like it, I would just buy a 16 pan or a 16 pan or a 9 pan variation of their like baseline, because they have like monochromatic ones, and then they do have actually some like mixed color stories. Like buy a color story from those those palettes and try it out before buying something more expensive. And I think that with a lot of those you are probably just gonna be happy with the Beauty Bay one. You don't really need to splurge in more high-end ones. These limited edition ones, with this one there's been a bit more variation. Some of the formulations haven't been that good, but with, for example, this Desert Haze one, this was one of the like better ranking drugstore palettes that I tried from last year, and I truly think they did something very beautiful. This had different kind of textures. We had some more sparkly shimmers. There was even a duochrome in this one. Then there were some smoother metallic linear shimmers, and I do also think the matte quality in this one was pretty decent. So with Beauty Bay, there's like why I do want to include them always in this sort of like drugstore recommendation list is that there's like a palette for everyone, and there's very wide range of color stories to choose from, and overall, considering the price point, the quality is stellar. And Beauty Bay constantly runs sales, so you're most likely able to get some money off the palette, so you don't necessarily even have to pay full price for them. So there's just like so much more options with Beauty Bay compared to like some other drugstore brands in terms of eyeshadows. Those were my sort of drugstore recommendations. Comment down below maybe what have been your sort of top drugstore products that you have been trying out recently. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope you can see another video. Bye bye!